Okay, well, welcome to this very special Meet the Miniaturist open studio version where I am showcasing several miniaturists who are headed to the Chicago Tom Bishop show. And I'm very excited to bring up Michael Robbins from the UK. We're going to get to it in a second. I have been charmed by your miniatures since the beginning, since I first saw them. They're so whimsical, they're so magical, and they add such a special, just charm is how I can describe them to your work. So let's get to it. Tell folks, if they don't know you and they're not following you already, tell them about yourself. Let's talk about your background, how you got started in miniatures, and then we'll get to maybe a sneak peek into some of the things you're working on for the show.
From the UK. I started collecting miniatures about 15 years ago when I was 15. A few years later, I ended up going to the Kensington show, which kind of blew my mind, and it was a great introduction to miniatures. The scale, the craftsmanship, it was incredible, and I realized it was going to be a problem because it was going to be a lot of money to spend. So I ended up blowing through all my student loan when I went to university on miniatures. But there we go, a great investment, I think. Anyway,
of course,
yeah. And then I started dabbling in making stuff. And a friend called Nikki Rowe, she used to make witch miniatures, similar to what I do now, but she sadly decided to retire making them. And one day in the post, she gave me a box that was filled with clay and tools and paints. And she said, I think you should have a go. So I did. And then that's how it all started, really.
So did you study art? I mean, what was your background in university?
It was dance, actually.
Dance?
I used to be a dancer.
Hello, dancer. Awesome.
But I've been making stuff since I was super small.
So I mean, you have the artistic streak in you already, whether it's movement, dance, and definitely art.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then I started doing small shows, and then I applied for Kensington, and I got in there, which was great. And then in 2019, I decided to apply for Chicago, which was my first time there, which was scary. But
yes. Well, talk a little bit about that. So Chicago 2019 was your first Chicago show. For folks who don't know, because you talk about how excited you were to get in that show. What does that mean? Because people don't realize that it's difficult to get into that show.
Yeah, it's very difficult to get into that show because it's a full show already. Nobody wants to leave that show once they're in it. So there's not many new free tables for people. So it's a little bit of a fight to get a table. And it's kind of juried. So you have to send photos of your work, which is also scary, but it happened. But Chicago is like the mecca of miniatures, I would say. It's just the best. It's the biggest. And more than anything, I think there's such an amazing sense of community at Chicago. The people there are fantastic. Everyone is super lovely. You're the best that you could ever be at a miniature show. And it's just such a lovely, warm atmosphere to be in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you've done the London show, right? Or you do the London show? I mean, I think, they're equivalent. You have the London show. We have the Chicago show. At least these are like the biggest shows on the planet, I would say. So, all right. So not a specific art background, performance art. Yes. So this miniaturist inspired you to make miniatures.
Mm-hmm.
And so talk a little bit of that. What were some of the first things you made?
I started making toadstools, which is kind of, I still make them now.
I'm sorry, what was it? Toadstools?
Toadstools, mushrooms, toadstools. In polymer clay, the same as I am doing now, but I wouldn't look back at the photos of the first ones because
we evolve. We evolve. We're allowed.
But I think now I'm more known for my pumpkins than I am for my toadstools. So
Yeah, I think the
Mm.
pumpkins were the first thing I saw from you for that I saw that you made that really spoke to me and called out to me because they're just so whimsical and so charming. And they're
Yeah,
all very different. Talk a little bit about that. Talk a little bit about your work. What do you love to make? And talk about those pumpkins. What do they
sure.
what do people tell you? What do your customers tell you? The collectors tell you?
Mhm. Well, I like to hand sculpt every single one. I don't use any molds or anything, just because I like every face to be individual. It's kind of a double-edged sword because when I'm at a show, a lot of the customers say, "Oh, they can't pick between them because I'll have like 16 and they all have different faces and they can never choose their favorite one."
Yes.
So yeah, I like to do that. Also, I think it's nice and you can collect a few and that they all look different, which is
Yeah.
nice.
It's a great problem to have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, and oh, I've got some here I can show you. So
Let's see. Oh.
this one.
So everything is hand sculpted. It's all one of a kind. You use
Yes.
polymer clay. I was going to get into the finishing. So do you have any other finishes? Do you use
Yeah.
acrylics, powders? Talk a little bit about
Mhm.
that.
So for the pumpkins and a lot of the things actually, they're sculpted in polymer clay. And then I use Genesis oils, which are a heat setting oil. Sadly, they've stopped making them now, so I've had to stock up, and I'm trying to find other ways of painting because once they've gone, I can't get any more, essentially.
Wow. Okay.
I also use acrylic, and
Wait,
then
can
I
you go
find,
back a second? What
yes.
these are? I've never heard of this. Is new to me. So these are oils. Are they pigmented?
So they're an oil, but they're very thick oils that you have to use a thinner with.
Okay.
But they're oils that heat set, so you have to put them back in the oven on the polymer clay, and then it sets them in place, and they won't move.
Oh, so it's
Mhm.
an extra level of hardening, would you say, than just baking?
Yes, yeah, it definitely it kind of binds to the clay, but they're really great because oils, as opposed to acrylics, you can really blend the colors into each other more
Oh,
with oils than you can with acrylics. So yeah, they're
yeah.
my favorites to use if I can.
Wow. Okay. Well, I hope that they figure out how to bring them back somehow.
I know. It's such a shame when things like that
Yes.
get discontinued and you can never
When
get
you
them
like
again.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So talk a little bit about what you're working on for the show.
So for the nice thing about Chicago is I get to kind of go kind of off the wall and make whatever I want, as opposed to the really smaller things. I can go bigger. So for this show, I'm making a lot of structures, which is a new thing for me. I tend to work in clay, not so much in wood. So now I've started making these. I'll show you. I can only bring one or two, obviously, because I only have one suitcase. But I've started making these fantasy houses.
Oh, look at that. Yes.
Um, and the reason I started making these was because a lot of my customers were saying they loved my stuff, but they collected traditional miniatures and they didn't have anywhere to put anything more fantastical. So I thought, well, maybe this is an opportunity to make the house that they go in, but they're small enough that you can fit them on a shelf. They're only about 5 inch deep, so
Wow.
um,
I
and
think
they
that
just have
is, yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
tiny, they
Uh,
just have a tiny room inside. But
but I think that you hit the nail on the head, which is, how do you appeal to the traditional dollhouse collector who loves your
mhm,
work? I think that is such a smart solve because not only do you have a place to put it, but you have this awesome miniature in addition
uh-huh,
to the pieces that they're buying. I
yeah.
love that. And it's the right environment and it's created by you. So it ties in beautifully with your work. That is so smart.
Yeah, as well because my stuff is, I find it quite, I would say it's stylized. So it's not, I'm not aiming for realism essentially, which I know is like the big thing in miniatures, really, to get everything as real as possible. But this is kind of in its own world. So I think having the structures in that world as well kind of ties the whole world together.
Totally. I think it totally
Yeah.
works because, not every collector just sits in one place in terms of what they
No.
like. So, I like I like other kinds of, I like diorama and those model builders and stuff like that. So, it's great that you're showing them how else they can quote unquote
Mhm.
play in your world. I think it's really, really smart. It's really smart.
Oh, thank you, Darren. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And you're only bringing one.
Well, I'm just going to try and get a second one done, but we're running out of time, so I will see.
Yeah. Well, then, but you'll take orders, I would imagine.
Yes, yes. The nice thing about these is I can make them however I want. So, and they
Yeah.
fit in the suit. If they come into the show, they do fit in my suitcase, so they're easily to take home. So,
Well, it's awesome. All right, so you have
mm.
structure. You're adding that. What are some of the challenges you sort of came up on now that you're sort of broadening your own,
Mm.
work?
I think the big thing for me was working with wood.
Wood.
I'm used to just like tiny clay tools, and now I have like big saws and things. And
Yeah.
I've never been like a tomboy, so that's kind of an, a completely different world for me. But I'm really
Yeah.
enjoying it, so it's been a fun challenge. Yeah,
Awesome. And you teach as well. Is that right? Are you teaching in Chicago? Let's talk about
I
that.
do. Yes, I'm teaching a Halloween cart at Chicago. I think there's a few spaces left if anybody was wanting to get on there. This isn't the exact one I'm teaching, but it's similar in style. So it's
Oh, I love that. I was looking in your
yeah.
Instagram account. You have a Christmas version of that too, right?
I do.
Which
I
is
taught that at the Mini
special.
Time Machine Museum in Tucson, Arizona last year.
Ah, I love it.
Yeah.
So how long is that class? And you walk away with everything we see there?
Yes, so it's a full day class from 9 till 5, and you hopefully by the end of it have the finished thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know it's important. People want to leave, they want to leave with everything in place. But, if you leave with like half of that, I'd be very happy.
Oh yeah. So we go through all the sculpting, and then we bake it and we paint it, and the cart kit's already built for you, so that's nice. That's a nice start. Volker Arnold actually made the carts for me.
Oh, is that right? So
Yeah.
collaboration. Love that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So we learn everything about the techniques that I put into all of my work. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. I love it. All right. So there's room still in your class, which is awesome.
I believe so. Yes. Yeah.
Or as of maybe now, or maybe when we post
Uh-huh.
this.
Uh-huh.
Well, we can only hope that you overfill it.
I
That would
know.
be awesome, right? So we have new pieces coming to see the show. New structure.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome. You know what I noticed also on your Instagram? It has been how long since you were on the reality show? Talk a little bit about that if people don't know that you were on a
Oh
big
yeah.
reality show.
So about 4 years ago now, which is crazy. I can't believe it's been so long. I was on a miniature competition show. I know you've been on one too, Darren. Called the Great Big Tiny Design Challenge, and it was on More4 in the UK. I'm not sure it's easily to get hold of in the US, sadly. But on that show, we had this huge house, and each episode was a different period in a different room, and it was group based, and we got to make lots of different things for it. I won't spoil how far I got if anybody wants to watch it, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was very
Yeah,
stressful, but it
I
was a
bet.
lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I bet. I bet.
yeah.
So when you get back from Chicago, what shows are you working on? Other shows? How many shows do you do a year?
So this year I'm up to 9 shows, which is which
Nine
is so
shows.
I know, which is so many because I'm making everything from scratch by hand, no molds, no
And by
3D printing.
yourself.
Yes, yes. So I've just done the San Diego show, and I did miniature in the UK. I now have Chicago, and then 2 weeks after Chicago, I have Kensington, and then I have York the week after that, and then in the autumn, I'm doing miniature again. Good Sam. I'm doing Philadelphia for the first time this year.
Oh, that's big news. Awesome. It's a
Yeah,
great
yeah,
show. It's a
yeah. I
great
can't
show.
wait. I've heard great things. I've been talking to Monica especially,
Yeah. Ah. Ah.
and then I have Christmas Kensington as well.
Oh, wow. Wow. So you are booked, man. You are
Yeah,
booked.
so if I look like a zombie at the show, you know why.
Well, I was going to say, do you take commissions? I mean, when do you have time?
Not at the moment. I probably could take commissions for the houses because those are kind of a fun thing to make. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, I'm having fun just making what I want to make at the moment, and this year is kind of doing all the shows, seeing which ones I like the best, which ones are the best for me, and
Yep.
then maybe next year I can be a little bit more um, specific with the ones that I choose.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So is that part of your strategy going in? You didn't do as many shows last year.
no. So I added the San Diego show in Philadelphia this year.
So you added 2 shows. All right. That's a
Yeah,
really smart way to look at it. Let me do as much, like, wear myself out, but for good reason. You'll pull
yeah.
back on some if you need to, if you have to, if you want to. Hopefully you still want to do all of them.
I know. I
Like,
hope so. It's just all the traveling to America that's kind of difficult, but
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I'm not willing to move out there, so.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe not yet.
No, maybe in like 3 or 4 years.
All right. Well, that could be interesting. All right. We'll keep monitoring you on that. All right. So, I mean, I was going to say what's next for you, but all the shows that you're doing is next. Is there,
Yeah, all the shows.
are there other bucket list items that you're thinking of doing that you have swirling in your head?
I think I want to make more of these structures that
More
I make,
structure.
kind of flesh out the world that they live in. I always say I've always made the things that go in them, but I've never created the world of it. So I
Yeah.
think that's some place I want to go.
Yeah.
Also, I started making a lot of characters. So I had the White Rabbit online yesterday.
Yes.
It seemed very popular, and I'm a little bit scared that I need to make more of them for Chicago. But so I want to try and get more into doll making as well. I think just because I think it. Yeah, so I this is the caterpillar as well. But yeah, I would like to.
Awesome. Those are awesome.
Yeah, I think I want to take a class and learn some new things. I'd like to go
Okay.
to the guild school at some point as well.
Okay. Those are all great things. Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you for joining me today on this special open studio event. I will see you in a couple of weeks, literally like 3 weeks.
I think it's 3 weeks. Yeah.
So I will see you there. Thank you so much for joining today. And thank you guys at home for watching. All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.